My father would take me to garden centers. We would buy plants with the idea that I was picking out what I wanted to plant in the yard, and then, we'd go home and I would plant it out in the yard. We started in 1981. My father and my mother and I were partners here in what was called bamboo jungle back then. Hurricane Andrew hit.
In August of 1992, Hurricane Andrew hit the coast of Florida as a Category 5 storm, packing 165-mile-per-hour winds, leaving an unprecedented path of destruction in its wake.
After Hurricane Andrew, the nursery was destroyed.
Weathering storms is a way of life in Florida. But in agriculture, a direct hit could mean the difference between sinking and swimming. And Sandy Stein has proven himself to be a very strong swimmer. Hurricane Andrew gave Sandy an opportunity to change direction in his life and grow personally. He took time away from the family nursery to focus on a new career as a licensed mental health counselor. Although he enjoyed helping others in his new job, it wasn't long before Sandy knew it was time to go back.
I walked into a nursery, and all the smells just came flooding back. I knew in that minute that I had missed this way too much.
When we went back into business, we were strictly exterior. We now grow a lot of interior product, a lot of exterior product, a lot of niche items to have different things for customers that they can't get at other nurseries.
When we came back in, we were just so different than we had ever been. I am never bored here, ever bored here.
And while he continues to follow his passion as a counselor, Sandy enjoys the familiar role of horticulturalist. Today, Sandy and his wife Robin operate the Jungle Nursery, a 30-acre tropical landscape in the middle of Homestead, Florida. Owning a small family nursery can be demanding, but operating a nursery surrounded by residential neighborhoods brings its own set of challenges. From water use to fertilization, every procedure factors in the well-being of the plants with a potential impact to the surrounding communities. Environmentally focused, the Jungle Nursery uses a number of best management practices to maintain a healthy balance. For Sandy, there is no other way.
From the very first time I met him, he talked about environmental issues because BMPs have always been a topic of conversation. And FNGLA growers have a BMP document that they adhere to in terms of what he does in nutrient management, in terms of the water that leaves his property, trying to reduce the nutrients in the water, trying to be careful with the fertilization practices he uses, the potting, different pots, they're all part of the BMP practice, and Sandy, I think, does as many of those practices as possible.
When I came here, he was already on that pathway, so I think he's always been conscious of what he does that has the least impact on his footprint.
It was always on his mind. He hated being any kind of contributor negatively to the environment.
Sandy was always wanting to stretch the envelope and go further and be more environmentally aware and make agriculture a good name with the environmental community. And I always admired him for that.
One of the common threats at the nursery are spider mites, tiny destructive insects that feed on the material inside the plant's cells. While the use of manufactured miticides can effectively address the problem, the lingering residue could leach into the surrounding community. Instead, Sandy has chosen a method that would not only protect the plants, but the environment as well. As part of an integrated pest management program, the nursery employs predatory mites to combat the destructive mites right on the plants. The beneficial insects hunt down and destroy the offending mites naturally without using chemicals.
The predatory mite is Phytocilus persimilis, is its scientific name. It's a very voracious predator that only eats spider mites. That's its whole job, is to find spider mites to feed its children.
Not only does it only eat spider mites, it's very, very aggressive. It's actually smaller than a spider mite, but eats lots of spider mites. I have not used a hard miticide in my nursery since I began the Persimilis program.
I think he's always looking to use products that have the least environmental toxicity or the least environmental persistence to achieve the results that you need, but with the minimal impact on the environment.
Sandy's approach to feeding his plants maintains the same level of attention to the environment. With input from industry specialist Victor Gonzalez, the nursery has developed a special cocktail of nutrients for the plants. While traditional fertilizers and fungicides work to feed and protect the plant, Sandy's cocktail takes a different approach.
I used to use a root starter fertilizer along with fungicides. Victor came back to me and said, I think you're going to get as good a performance from using these beneficial bacteria and fungus, and you'll get to feel better about what you're doing. That has just turned into a really big deal for me to know, now more positive effects on the environment.
Featuring beneficial bacteria and fungi that colonize on the roots, the mixture helps the plants take up digested nutrients as food and promotes a healthy root system. These beneficials, used in conjunction with a 100% controlled release fertilizer, means that Sandy's plants can grow bigger, faster, and with less impact on the environment. Best of all, the cocktail can be tailored to Sandy's changing inventory.
So the cocktail is 6 products, basically, and we've gone from 3 products to 6 products to 4 products. So we've gone back and forth, sort of on that pipeline that we kind of talked, to find out, because he's changed his plants. So as he changes his plants, we change our products to meet the needs of those plants.
Beyond the borders of his jungle paradise, Sandy has devoted much of his personal time to help lead Florida's horticulture industry into the future. While recognized for his efforts as president of the Florida Nursery Growers and Landscape Association, Sandy takes even greater pride as a graduate of the Wedgeworth Leadership Institute for Agricultural and Natural Resources.
Boy, oh boy, was Wedgeworth amazing. For me, outside of my family, it's been the greatest experience of my life, and that's true.
Sandy, right away, you could identify as a leader who had great ideas and wanted to really take agriculture to the next level in an environmental way. So I really liked him from the first time I met him. He has a passion about him, and he has a lot of energy. And that's the type of people you like to hitch yourself to.
To the extent that I'm able to look out for the planet in what I do, that's my job. That's just flat out my job. I don't really have a choice, for me. I guess I have a choice, but I don't have a choice.